Sabir, please start.
With all your due permission, ma'am.
Yeah,
Good morning to one and all present here. I, Professor Sabir Mujawar, would welcome you for the third day of our 7 days workshop, which is on research methodology. With a great response, we are going to start the session today. Today, the topic which we are going to cover is on research design. The topic will be covered by Dr. S.S. Prasada Rao. Sir is a member of Association of Indian Management School and a distinguished academician and a dynamic leader in the field of education. He is currently working as a Dean of Center for Teaching and Learning at V School. Sir brings a wealth of experience and expertise to his role with a robust educational background, including a PhD from Behrampur University and a diverse qualification spanning from finance to education. His credentials are impressive. His teaching experience has a wide array of courses from financial management to accounting. Reflecting his knowledge base, he has also contributed to executive education programs such as EMBA through various programs and activities. Sir is a member of various academic bodies and editorial boards, showcasing his commitment to shaping the educational paradigms. Moreover, his interest in strategic financial management and ongoing strategic management and financial advising highlight his dedication to advancing knowledge in the field of management, finance, and education. Sir has also received many awards in the field of education and research. We are happy to have you, sir, on board. I now request our beloved director, Dr. Vidya Hatangdi, to welcome sir.
Welcome, Dr. Rao. Nice to have you with us, and we look forward to your enlightening session.
Thank you so much, madam. Can I share my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, friends, are you able to see my presentation now?
Yes, sir, the screen is perfectly visible.
Yeah. I am at the outset very much privileged to associate with a wonderful institution being led by Dr. Vidya Hatangdi madam. And I'm happy to visit the campus.
Sir. Dear participants, please give us 2 minutes. I think there is some technical issue that sir has got disconnected. Just give us 2 minutes, sir will join soon. Sir has been added to the session.
Yeah. I'm sorry, in between there is a call and that's why it is getting connected. Now I'm okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So please try to share the screen.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah. Able to
Yes,
see
sir.
now? Yeah.
The screen is perfectly visible.
Yeah, I'm really very happy to visit the campus also during the national conference that has been well organized by the team. And again, I'm privileged to make a presentation today on the research design. Friends, being all of us are teachers, we do a lot of research day in and day out. There is some research we publish, some research we go for patent, and some research we do not publish. We use it for the classroom purposes. So almost every teacher, every student is a researcher. There is no doubt about it. But what is meant by academic research? Academic research, I always say that only textbooks and the refereed journals, the publication in these sources come to academic research. The rest all we cannot claim as research at all. They are only non-academic research, not academic research. So being a student or being a teacher or being an industry professional or consultant, whoever wants to learn something, they keep on doing research. So today we are going to talk about the academic research, means which is useful for not only for delivering the sessions in the class, but also for adding knowledge, sometimes creation of additional knowledge to the body of existing knowledge. That is what actually the research. So research is all about creating new knowledge and adding new knowledge to the existing body of knowledge. That is why now the national education policy or most of the accreditation bodies are all saying that being academicians, being teachers, being research scholars, we need to produce as much research as possible because we are all responsible for creation of knowledge. It is not just dissemination. For dissemination, there are so many sources available. Professor Google, other sources, n number of sources are available to disseminate the knowledge, disseminate the information, disseminate the findings. But very few resources are there to create knowledge. And for that purpose, this research, particularly academic research, is very, very important. Hence, most of the accreditation bodies giving a lot of importance to academic research. That's why we are all expected to contribute, additional knowledge and bring some other things into the platform so that the students will get properly engaged with our findings, with our innovations, with our creativity. And thinking is possible only for human being. Though people are talking about artificial intelligence, and machine learning, but who is creating this particular thing? This is human. So thinking is the core objective of human beings, and thinking is the base for research. Apart from the observation, so thinking and observation are the root cause for creating additional knowledge. So with this brief, I would like to start the presentation on research design. I think most of you, being teachers or scholars, are doing day in and day out a lot of research. And many scholars come to institution, meet the research guides, and sometimes peers also, seniors, and the other faculty, they keep talking and trying to understand the field of research. So they may have some ideas before coming to campus, before taking the admission. But after taking the admission, the real journey starts. And research design is all about the blueprint. Okay? So it tells you what is that how you are going to take this, this journey forward. So the fundamentals of research, research design we'll discuss after some time. The basic fundamentals, I think everybody is very much aware that research design is one major element, then sampling, data collection, and measurement of the data. Sometimes we need to follow, ethical, not sometimes, every time we need to follow ethical considerations, and most probably visualization and presentation, how you present the data is very, very important. And data analysis, of course, various tools are there we need to do. Sometimes we need to do experimentation, and then we have to show the documentation and reporting. These are the basic fundamentals of research. So I would like to show you one video here. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you please play that video?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please do that. You can also share simultaneously, I think. Or should I?
Just a minute, sir. I have received the PDF.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, let me.
Sir, is the screen visible?
Sabir, 1 second.
This one.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that video. Right.
Yes, sir.
Great. It's only for 3 minutes, not even full 3 minutes, but it gives you the overview. You can open a browser and then paste it so that everybody can see with the wonderful
Yes, sir.
music also.
Just 2 seconds. I'm sharing this audio because it is a video, no?
Yeah.
Sir, there might be a problem in the link because it is showing that the video is currently not available.
Okay, then leave it. Okay, leave
Apologies,
it.
sir.
No worry. I'll go back. I'll go back to my presentation. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Perfectly visible.
Yeah. The elements of research design, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
It is on
Yeah.
elements.
Yeah. Before asking, the elements, or before going to proceed to talk about the various components of research design, I would like to briefly give the overview. What is that we are going to discuss today? We are going to discuss the research questions or objectives, hypothesis, research approach, mean how we are going to do. Is it mixed methods, or what do you call the experimental method, or how we are going to proceed with our research, etc. We are going to discuss, and research design type, and sampling strategy, and data collection methods, the variables and measures. Most of the people talk about variables are the dependent and independent, how constantly they influence or what are the results that depending on the variables we select. And experimentation procedures, sometimes, some research requires experimentation. If anybody does research on the savings mechanism of the, individuals, and how they can periodically increase their savings and also make a huge investment and get God know how amount of the capital gains, that kind of things we can do even in finance with experimentation. We'll discuss at the time of, that slide. And data analysis plan, timelines and resources, ethical considerations, and pilot testing. Once we are convinced with the pilot testing, then we will proceed for the main research. So before going to further review, I would like to ask you, what are the questions we need to pose before doing research? Questions are objectives. Is it necessary to frame research objectives or research questions before proceeding to do our work? It is necessary, because with what objective you are proceeding to do your research. Most of the students, they don't get the research objective, or they don't understand the core objective of research, but still they work like anything. If we know our objective very clearly, if we know the questions very clearly, we can actually save a lot of time and do very, very effective research. Because the research questions or objectives can be framed based on the literature review. We need to read as many articles as possible, number one. Number two, we need to attend the conferences or workshops, even whether it is, online or offline, whatever the way, we need to do that so that you will get some ideas and you will get to know what is the current research happening in the field, and you will get to know who are the, authority in doing a particular research. These kind of answers you will get when you move, when you meet various people who are doing the similar work. Okay, so the research questions are very, very important, that you can frame the questions based on your observations and your literature review. Sometimes we may keep the questions open-ended or close-ended. And actually, based on these questions, we frame the hypothesis. Okay? If we are very clear with our questions, our hypothesis also very clear, and we can collect the data properly. And once we collect the data, we have to verify whether the data is, valid or, authenticated. The testing the hypothesis, the reliability and validity is very, very important. Based on the reliability and validity, people trust us and people accept our research. In fact, we can publish in a very, very high impact journal. So that is very, very important. So how do we frame the questions? Any clue how do we frame the questions? Mostly, we identify a broad topic. How do we identify the topic? Start by identifying a broad area of interest that you want to explore. This could be based on your own interests or gaps in existing literature or sometimes real world problems, real time problems. Most of the institutions are nowadays doing the problem based research. Academic research is on one side. The industry research is very, very important now, because industry research talks about immediate solutions. The academic research is all about creation of knowledge, for the current and future references. But industry research is not, for future. It is current. Today's skills are important for today's problems. Most of the academic institutions prepare the students for tomorrow's problems, but we need to do for today's problems also. And that is why we need to identify the broad area or broad topic Once we identify the topic, we need to do the literature review. Review the existing literature on the topic, on the field. Sometimes the broad area also we need to do. You need not narrow down immediately. After doing extensive review, we will come down to the narrow focus of our research. And then we need to consider the type of the study. Should we do exploratory survey or descriptive or explanatory? What is that we wish to do? That also we need to consider before taking up the topic. In exploratory, what is that we aim at? What are the key factors influencing a particular scenario? Okay, that is called exploratory. Descriptive, what is the prevalence of particular thing happening, why it is happening, how it is happening? And explanatory, and we need to give as much explanation as possible while doing the while addressing a particular problem. Then we consider the variables and relationships. If applicable, consider the variables or factors that you will be studying and how they relate to each other, because this will help you to formulate more precise research questions and hypotheses. After that, we need to go for using clear language. The clear language is very, very important, because your research questions using clear and concise language that is easily understandable to both experts and non-experts in the field. Okay, that is very, very important. And finally, of course, we need to seek the feedback. Before finalizing the research questions, we have to take feedback from whom? From our teachers, from our research supervisors. Sometimes we need to take feedback from the seniors who are doing the research in the same area. Sometimes you may take feedback from the professionals also, the practicing professionals, so that you can lock your topic and start doing work towards that particular objective or that questions. Okay, I would like to give you some questions here, because I believe that we are all management teachers and management students doing research. I would like to give research questions examples in OB and leadership. And this question may be leading to some other questions, and these questions or objectives lead to some more objectives, and these objectives may lead to framing the hypothesis. That is why research questions, research objectives, research hypothesis, and then preparation of the questionnaire, collecting the data, analyzing the data, interpretation of the data, and then presentation of the data. If we are able to convince the research guide and the adjudicators and the peers, then you can go for publication of the work. It is published, it is your baby, it's your right, it's your intellectual capital. That is why in one of the IIT professors recently saying that when you do research, first go for patent. So patent, publish, and then prosper. The prosperity, is possible when we patent and then publish. Because patenting is giving you ownership rights. Sometimes that idea is very worth, going for a startup. That will help you to prosper both financially and academically. That is the advantage of doing research. Suppose anybody wants to do research in OB or leadership, they can take a clue like this. How does the transformational leadership style impact employee job satisfaction and organizational commitment? Another question may be, what are the key factors influencing employee engagement in motivation in a remote work environment? The COVID-19 taught several lessons. Among them, this is one, that remote work locations, work from home or work from anywhere, WFA, need not be home. Anything is possible. So, like that, it is happening. Okay, suppose you would like to do research in HR. There are some questions. What are the effects, performance appraisal systems on employee performance and job satisfaction? See, whenever they say performance appraisal, people are afraid. Though there are good performing professionals and they come to know that there is some performance appraisal happening, they may feel, embarrassed. They may feel very shy. Or my performance, if it is not good, or if they come to know something weaknesses, they may terminate or like that. They may feel insecurity. That we can avoid, by educating them properly. Of course, that is the objective. That is, of course, the responsibility of the HR team, which is doing that. But it is very important because feedback only the best mechanism to improvement. So we cannot avoid, participating in the performance appraisal system. So we need to educate them properly. Very important. Even sometimes you need to know what are your strengths. You need to know how others are, expecting what from you, and you need to know what are your own limitations so that you can go for improvement. So anything is possible. Then how does the diversity and inclusion training impact the workplace diversity, climate and employee retention rates, again, etc. And another question could be, what are the best practices for talent management in multinational corporations to ensure global competitiveness? Okay, like that, some more questions you can frame on your own. Strategic management. If anybody wants to do research in the area of strategic management, here is the clue. Okay, how mergers and acquisitions in the technology industry are driving the success. That is, one question. Second could be how environmental scanning and scenario techniques influence the strategic decision making in uncertain market environments. Now we are living in the very, very disruptive environment. Need not be destructive, it is disruptive. We don't know what is going to happen in the next minute. Okay, it is that much, difficult, uncertain. We are all living in very, very uncertain world. We don't know how the technology is going to impact the human lives. So, that topic we can take up for doing research and so on so in strategic management. Suppose anybody wants to do research in operations, they can take a clue here. How do lean manufacturing? Because nowadays, cost minimization or optimization of the natural resources or whatever available resources is very, very important. Nowadays, industry is very competitive and they don't have a luxury of spending the huge amount on various things. Everything we need to be accountable. That is the latest principle. Everyone has to be accountable. Okay, for budgets, even utilization of the budgets, very, very important. So how operations management, can be carried out with these three questions. This is the clue. Anyhow, I'm going to share this presentation with you. And by the end of this presentation, the presentation will be shared across all the madam and person who is helping me, Mr. Asal, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the research questions in case of marketing management, it's only just to give you, an idea, what kind of questions we can frame in case of marketing management. How brand personality and brand image influence consumer purchasing behavior in the fashion industry. All these questions are taken based on the current research happening. Okay, and social media marketing. In fact, main media is failed several cases. The social media is taking lead, but we cannot trust the social media. We can trust at least main media. But recently, some fake news have been, circulated even in the main media based on the social media posts. So main media also is not taking that much care. It has become social media, and I'm sure the social media is taking far lead compared to the main media, because main media has to do so much. They need to refine, revise, and they should be very productive, and they should maintain that kind of what you call confidence. Only it is possible when they also do research. So every organization has to be a learning organization. Every organization should do research, because everybody should know the fact. Research is all about finding the facts. Unless you find the fact, how can you share? Otherwise, you will say, I suppose. Authorities cannot say, I suppose. Authorities, should share the authenticated information. The authenticity comes only when we do research. Okay. Now, some examples in entrepreneurship and innovation. Okay, determinants of entrepreneurial success in the startup ecosystem. We may give A to Z the variables, or the measures, and say these are the major factors that determining the success of a startup system. Like that you may come up. And sometimes the organizational culture impact innovation performance. Most of the organizations nowadays are accepting students who fail while doing something. They are asking what is that a student has done during the course of the study. Okay, how many times a student has failed in doing something. They wanted to understand what kind of attempts the students are putting and what kind of failures they are experimenting or experiencing. That also is very important. So do not hesitate to fail even. David Kelly at the age of 70 saying that, started IDEO lab, and he quoted a very good, example. Fail faster, succeed sooner. Unless we fail, we do not understand the real ecosystem. But most failures possible only when we start playing. Unfortunately, most of the students are not finding time to even, play, even experiment. They are not even trying to even fail. Sometimes failures also important. So entrepreneurship comes only with a lot of experiences. That experiences could be a failure mechanism also. What is that we are learning out of our own failures that are very important. And the next item in the presentation is about the hypothesis. Friends, I think you know what is a hypothesis. Actually, the hypothesis we frame based on our research questions, our research objectives. Is it necessary to frame hypothesis, or what is the source of framing the hypothesis? Can anyone say? I would like to listen to you. You just unmute your mic and say, because I don't want to make one way traffic. I wish to understand your understanding level and your questions, so that I can answer more questions.
Sir,
Than,
research,
yeah, somebody
sir,
saying.
sir, sir, research objectives are the main base for framing the hypothesis.
Fantastic. Okay, very good. Research objective is the basis for framing the hypothesis. That is 100% correct. But why hypothesis? You are right. But why hypothesis?
Sir, we are carrying the scientific study, and in order to prove the facts, that hypothesis is required.
Okay. So actually, when we approach, when we start doing our research, we have to assume something, right? We have to assume something, we have to believe something, and we should go with some hypothesis.
Yes.
It may be wrong or right, that is secondary. Do you agree?
I,
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So a hypothesis is a tentative statement. See, it's a tentative statement. I will ask you one question here. Hypothesis. You can answer me. A hypothesis is question A. The answer one, confirmed theory. Option B, an educated guess. Option C, a random prediction. Option D, it's a proven fact.
Random predication.
Random prediction.
Predication.
Random
Okay.
prediction. Yes.
Anyone else?
So it's proven fact.
prediction.
Okay, it's a
I
proven
think it is
fact.
B.
Huh? B. An
I
educated guess.
B. Yeah.
B. C. A. Confirmed theory. B. Educated guess. C. Random prediction. D. It's a proven fact.
So D. Proven
Proven
fact.
fact. See, if
Yeah.
it is a proven fact, what is there you find? So that's not correct. It's a random prediction, also not correct. A confirmed theory, not correct. It's only a guess. So hypothesis is a guess based on our observations, based on our own understanding, based on our own studies. Do you agree? It's a guess, no? So we start with the guess, framing the objectives, questions, and questionnaire, collect the data, and finally say it is, hypothesis accepted or rejected. Your guess may be right or wrong. If it is right, accepted. If it is wrong, you need to go for alternate hypothesis. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we are
So,
getting the responses in the chat box.
okay, I'm
So
not
please
able to
also
see.
check
Yeah,
that part.
you can guide me because
Yes, sir.
I'm not able to see the chat box. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
sir.
can prompt me. You are like
Yes, sir.
prompt engineer for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like Google Reader. Now people are talking about prompt engineering. In fact, we can do management students can do prompt engineering research also. Okay. Now come to examples of hypothesis. Again, suppose it is OB and leadership. See, we need not confine with so many hypotheses. Most of the people are very over ambitious. They frame 20 hypotheses or 25 hypotheses. Every objective they divide into 5 and make 5 hypotheses. Need not be. We can frame even 2 hypotheses also and continue our research. Okay. So example I would like to give in OB or HR leadership. Like this you can frame hypothesis. There is a positive relationship between authentic leadership and employee trust, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment. Okay. So how do you say that leadership and employee trust, job satisfaction, commitment are all depending on the leadership style? Because you have read somewhere these kind of leaders influence and these kind of leaders can retain many people. The attrition rate is very high if it is this kind of leader. It is low in this kind of leader. Like that we read, no? We do come across various works, and we may frame this hypothesis based on our observation. After the data we collect, it may be proven wrong or right. That's a second story. Okay, and another example. Emotional intelligence moderates the relationship between transformational leadership and employee performance, such that the effect is stronger for leaders with higher emotional intelligence. It appears very true, 100%. But once we collect the data, once we start our, proceeding further, we will come to know something more. Like that, examples of hypothesis in human resource management. Okay. You can read. It is self-explanatory. Like that, hypothesis in operations management. Just-in-time inventory management practices lead to cost savings. It is, one way it's very good, just in time. The other way, suppose the material did not reach on time, there is huge loss. Who will bear that loss? The non-availability of material may hamper the production. And if there is no production, it may cause a lot of inconvenience for the supply of that product within the time frame. If they fail to supply the product within the time, they may lose not just order, they may lose the entire business. Okay, and in fact, one of the research studies revealed that material management, if you properly do inventory management, you can save almost 33% of the total cost of the product. See, you can understand how the operations management, the logistics, the supply chain are impacting the business decisions. You can understand well. That's why these questions are very, very important. Okay, the same way, TQM implementation positively affects customer satisfaction, loyalty, service industries like that. Even marketing management, how CSR initiatives leading to increased customer loyalty and positive word of mouth. Because most of the companies are spending huge amount on CSR. Even every individual has to follow ISR, individual social responsibility. That's very important. In this current environment, it is more the ethics and values are very, very important. Like that, online customer news significantly influence. This is all about digital media. Okay. Same way, entrepreneurship and innovation. We can talk about how entrepreneurial orientation positively influences firm innovation performance. Now, along with entrepreneurship, and some of the business schools started, educating on intrapreneurship. You can, experiment even on the job you are doing. You can try, sometime for the see. I think Tata Nano has come based on the intrapreneurship, initiatives by Tata company. Even Mahindra, some electric vehicle, I think most of you must be aware, Reva, the Reva vehicle. That first, in fact, Mahindra and Mahindra was the first company going for the battery powered vehicles before anybody else. Of course, it was a wrong time for the right product. If it is now they start, definitely they can. Of course, nowadays most of the automobile manufacturers are preferring the hybrid mode. Okay, so that's about entrepreneurship and innovation. And then the next element in research is a research approach. Yeah, before going to research approach, I would like to ask you one more question on hypothesis. Which of the following best describes a null hypothesis? A, it predicts a relationship between variables. B, it predicts no relationship between the variables. C, it provides summary of the data. D, it explains results of an experiment.
Participants can unmute and give the answer, or they can put it in the chat box.
Sir, B.
So it's B. It's B.
Super. Perfect. Means you are all doing research. Amazing. Great. Wonderful answer. The B
Sir,
is
in the
the right
chat
answer.
box, we are receiving answer as B.
Wow, amazing. It predicts a relationship between variables. Amazing. Okay, very good. Can I ask you one more question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll ask you. When formulating a hypothesis, What characteristic is essential for it to be testable? Option A, it must be complex. Option B, it must be measurable and specific. Option C, it must be vague and general. Option D, it must be unique and unrepeatable.
Measurable and specific.
It must be measurable and specific.
Measurable and
Amazing.
specific.
Yeah.
Measurable and specific.
Amazing, amazing. Understand.
Measurable
Your answer is
Measurable
100%
and-
correct. That is why I have put another slide called variables and measurables. See, measurability is very, very important. Unless you are, able to measure, you cannot either quantify or qualify. Sometimes qualifying also is important. Suppose you do content analysis research. In content analysis, there is no data, but still we can do research. One of my students has done, the qualitative research, particularly understanding entrepreneurial patterns among the business families. Okay, for that there is no data. They have to bring a lot of case studies. They have to do some other, tools, which we are going to discuss in the coming slides. So I have asked 3 questions. All 3 questions were answered very well. Means you are doing very good, amazing. Now tell me, what is research approach? Do you know what is research approach? It is all about how we are, chapterizing our research. That is the outcome. Okay, methodology, the theoretical framework, and what are the techniques we are using, both collection of the data and analysis of the data. Okay, this is all we need to make our own preparation. That's why it is called research approach. What is your approach? How do you do? The choice of approach depends on factors such as the nature of the research questions and characteristics of the phenomenon under study, and researchers' preferences and expertise. Ultimately it all depends on what is our competencies. Do you agree? Our competencies are very, very important than what is expected out of research. Because we should be able to deliver, no. A person who is not at all good at quantitative techniques and he is expected to use all quantitative techniques, can you expect that he will do better research? No, because he is not competent enough. See, he can learn certain tools, techniques for whatever needed for the particular research is okay. But you cannot construct a model, a mathematical model, unless you are good at the quant, unless you are good at the IT, unless you are good at the stat. And moreover, the theoretical framework also is very, very important. That's why the competencies are very, very important. The competencies actually make us preferring something. That's why most of the class 12 students, if you ask, what's your choice? Where do you wish to go? They say, I go into math, I go into science, I go into humanities, I go into BMS. Because they know very well what they are strong at. Some people may prefer fine arts. Some people may prefer social, sciences. Some people may prefer humanities. Some people prefer highly quantitative techniques. Some people prefer engineering. Why? Because of their preferences, their priorities, their competencies, and their interest, of course. Clear? So this is which is very, very base for preparing our research approach. And this approach can be classified into 6 types. Number 1, quantitative approach. Do you know what is quantitative approach? a researcher conducts a survey to assess the relationship between the students' study habits and their academic performance. The study habits, say for example, independent variable, and the performance is dependent variable. Suppose you study, maybe 4 hours a day, your performance may be A grade. Suppose you study 8 hours a day, it may be A plus. Suppose you study 1 hour a day, it may be D. Sometimes F grade also. So it all depends on the dependent variable and independent variable. The independent variable we cannot influence, but we can manipulate. Okay, that's why the approaches are very, very important. Quantitative approach, qualitative approach. Sometimes we use mixed methods. Okay, we use both quantitative and qualitative. That's why most of the researchers say, "Sir, I have collected data and conducted this research while using both the methods." That's why it is called mixed methods. Sometimes action research. Action research is all about finding out the solutions, immediate solutions for the immediate problems. And over a period of time, they may come with a lot of solutions. Action research. Sometimes experimental approach. We can do experimentation not only in OB or psychology area. We can do experiments in every management subject. Nowadays, with the advantage of technology, we can use experimentation at regular intervals of time, at regular intervals of period, how much amount we are investing, how much amount we are maximizing, what is the capital gain, or what is the return on our investment, etc. also can be computed or calculated based on our research. That is possible with experimental research. Of course, case study research, case study approach, every one of us are very clear because management is all about using case studies. Case studies are real-time problems, real-time scenarios brought to the classroom, brought to the research. Anything it could be. Okay, now let us discuss one by one. Quantitative research. In quantitative research, what is that we aim at? We aim to quantify phenomena and examine relationship between the variables using numerical data. Okay, the data shall be collected through structured questionnaires and measuring variables such as, example I gave you, family income, parental education level, and academic achievement, etc. And statistical techniques or tools we use like regression analysis that can be employed to analyze the data and identify the patterns or correlation between socio-economic status and educational outcomes. Okay, even the students with kind of limited resources sometimes also can excel well. They are called outliers. So what made them doing that? I think all of you must have seen the movie that person Anand Sharma, the Super 30. Okay, so by quantifying variables and applying statistical methods, the quantitative approach allows the researchers to systematically test the hypothesis, make predictions, and draw generalizable conclusions about relationships under the study. That is all about the quantitative approach. And it also, the qualitative approach focuses on understanding the meanings, experiences, and perspectives of individuals or groups within their natural context. This is qualitative. We cannot quantify, so see, quantifying variables is very difficult in case of understanding the human behavior or human phenomena or a particular what you call ethnographic studies. Ethnographic studies we cannot quantify. Like you can take up everything as a case study and you can take the content and then start analyzing. You can take the scenarios and start analyzing. You can take the particular situations and start analyzing. This is called qualitative approach. Okay, and mixed methods. See, I gave you one example here for mixed methods. For example, a public health researcher investigating healthcare access might use a mixed methods approach to explore both quantitative and qualitative experiences. And it need not be only a quantification method or qualitative method. We can use both. Now come to the action research. Okay, here it is not appearing. Okay. Just can you give me some time? Just give me some time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will hold on here. In the meantime, I'll ask you one more question. Which of the following, it's all about sampling. I'm asking you a question now. Which of the following is a probability sampling technique? You know, there are two types of sampling techniques, probability, non-probability. So the question here is, which of the following is a probability sampling technique? A, convenience sampling. B, quota sampling. C, snowball sampling. D, simple random sampling.
Simple random sampling.
Simple random sampling.
D. Simple random sampling.
B.
Simple random.
sampling.
Very good. Absolutely. I'll give you the clarification, more explanation, while discussing the sampling technique. Very good. You're all, see, any session happened or what on this topic? You started already working. That's great. Amazing.
Sir, in the chat box also, we have received the same response. Option D.
Okay. Wow, amazing. That's great. Then one more I would like to give. Okay, just give me a minute time. Here it is not appearing. The presentation, I would like to send one more.
So the video which you have suggested is now available. Should I show that video by the
Yeah,
time?
sure. Please show that.
Yeah. I'll share the
Amazing.
screen.
Amazing. Please do that. Since you are also the host, you can share it.
Is the slide visible to all?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I'll play it. It might, it is a video. It might loop, it might lag. Please don't worry. We'll also share the link with you so that you see it properly. Okay.
Amazing, boss. You are doing fantastic.
Why have you chosen this approach? But it also goes a bit further than that. Methodology is about explaining some of the assumptions that you bring to your research design. All researchers and research questions have built-in assumptions about how we can know things and learn about things and about how data can be collected. It tells us about what kind of information will actually help us answer questions. At the very general level, there are qualitative and quantitative methodologies. An experimental design is more quantitative and ethnography is a more qualitative approach. If I want to know whether a new classroom activity improves student performance on a standardized assessment, then I can probably find that out with a quantitative approach, like an experiment. If I want to know how students think about that new classroom activity as a way to build their personal abilities, then I might want to take a qualitative approach, like a classroom case study that explores a student's feelings and reported experience. Which methodology you choose depends on your research question and what you want to find out. and also your research methods. Methods are a way of collecting data, like a survey, an interview, or an observation. For example, in my own research, I'm interested in finding out how teachers experience policies from the department and the government in their classrooms. My methodology is a combination of case study and institutional ethnography, which are broadly qualitative approaches because I'm interested in what teachers have to say about their experience. But I've chosen mixed methods for different parts of my research. I include a survey, which included items on a 5-point Likert scale, and a space for free response. This allows me to build descriptive statistics of a school. I also conducted interviews and classroom observations, which are qualitative data about teachers' experiences. Quantitative approaches are really good at testing theories and identifying relationships between different factors. They can be run at very large scales, which means we can sometimes generalize the findings beyond smaller contexts. But quantitative approaches can't necessarily tell us why things are the way they are, what people believe, and they can overlook the specifics of a research context. Qualitative approaches are really good for building a rich understanding of a social environment. They help you to build theories about why people do the things they do. They help us to pose and respond to questions about ethics, practice, policy, and much more. But sometimes they may not be the most useful if we want to make general assumptions beyond a particular context. Put another way, during analysis, you might use qualitative data to look for themes, narratives, and ideas, whereas you'd use quantitative data to look for effects, patterns, and outcomes. So that's it, research design in a nutshell. Sounds really easy, right?
Amazing. Yeah, you can turn off. Very good. I think these links also you can share with all the participants.
Yes, sir. I'll share the link in the chat box.
Yeah, perfect. And other links we can say. One more link I think is there on.
Yes, sir. It is on the topic of variables. It is of 9 minutes. So I'll share the link on the chat in the chat box only.
Yeah, once I start variables, I'll tell you. That time we can share that.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Amazing. Just give me some time so that I can move back to the presentation.
Okay, sir. By the time, participants, I have posted the link in the chat box. You can access the video.
Yeah, are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, sir. The screen is visible.
Yeah, examples. That's what we shared so far. Examples of research questions and research questions, hypothesis, examples. Yeah, research approach we discussed, quantitative approach, qualitative, and mixed. Qualitative, I think you know very well. Anyhow, I'm explaining. I will explain once again. See, now come to the action research. See, actually, most of our teachers do, action research. In fact, for our, subject purpose, we do. Of course, we don't publish, but normally we do action research. You know how we do research, action research in the day-to-day life, like participatory approach, trying to address the practical problems or challenges within the specific context. Normally, we collaborate with other stakeholders or other practitioners. Say, for example, a teacher collaborates with colleagues to improve the student engagement in the classroom. See, like how we are doing. In fact, I'm directing, the slides and my, support, help, Dr. What's your name, Sarel? Yeah, he is helping me. Like, we are doing collaborative way. Suppose one more direct dimension is added from the other faculty member so that, we can make the students very much engaged and proper learning happens. And it gives lot of support to the students, and they learn so much. Suppose it is a laboratory, only one teacher from one corner starts. It may not be able to reach the student. Suppose 3-4 faculty explaining the same concept, closely associating with the students. The students can understand the concept very well, and proper engagement of the classroom happening, and a lot of learning also takes place. That's why action research is very, very important, and we can publish the outcome also. Like, implementing innovative teaching strategies such as project-based learning, flipped classroom, like how we are doing, a little bit of podcast, a little bit of videos, little bit of, lecture method, little bit of phases, little bit of, the online learning, and little bit of assignments. If we give everything into proper mix, we can make the students very engaged and very active, and he will not feel boredom. In fact, it makes a lot of fun in the class because they always actually participate in the discussions. They enjoy. When they start enjoying the learning, there is no kind of boredom. In fact, so much learning happens. That's why fun-filled learning is very, very important. Every teacher is nowadays started, using storytelling methods. That stories, even numbers also can be, shared as stories. Every number is a story now. So through interactive for iterative cycles, repetition, planning, action, observation, reflection, they refine their teaching practice to enhance the student learning outcomes. See, earlier people used to say teaching. Now they are saying learning. Teaching is not bothered, man. Learning. What is that learning outcome? The outcome is more important than what is that we are teaching. That's why action research is gaining a lot of popularity nowadays. And what is experimental approach? Here, I would like to give the practical examples. See, experimentation. Normally, experiments, whenever we say the Pavlovian principles, theories, stimulus, response, vagaira. But the same kind of experiments can be taken up in the finance, the management subjects, even economics, the wealth creation, wealth accumulation, wealth maximization techniques. We can do experimentation. Finance faculty can do experimentation. A marketing faculty can introduce experimentation in the research. It is possible. What is that we do? We randomly assign participants, either some group or a control group, a measure, and measure their stress levels. This is all psychologists how they use. But apart from psychology, we can do other areas also like finance, economics, marketing, in fact, digital marketing we can do, introducing several techniques in the field so that you can bring out a lot of insights, a lot of, thoughts, conclusions. That's why experimental approach is nowadays gaining a lot of prominence. Okay. If you wish to mention any examples in experimentation, you can share in the chat box because that is going to be shared with everyone and everyone has an access to that. The very important, one more important, methods is case study approach. I think I need not tell about the relevance of case study, the advantage of case study, and the utilization of the case study approach. The case, we cannot bring the industry to the classroom, and we cannot take the classroom also industry. It's not possible, no? If you bring the industry to classroom, they don't produce anything. Only they showcase like an experimentation. It's not possible. Then how we can bridge that gap between industry and academia? It is through case studies. Because case studies will bring the real life scenarios into the classroom. That's why a teacher examines a successful startup company to understand the factors contributing to its rapid growth. You can take up one company, how it could do well, what could be the strategies they have implemented, what could be the the USP for making the business in that grand scale, like that they can understand. And they conduct interviews with the company's founders, employees, all stakeholders. You know why? Because every stakeholder has a unique way of sharing their experience and viewing their own way of understanding the business. Through an in-depth analysis of the case, they identify key drivers of the company's success and extract lessons that can inform other entrepreneurs and businesses. See, we need not experience everything and learn. We can learn from the experiences of others. That also is a great advantage in this knowledge economy. We most of the students are actually doing virtual projects, virtual experimentations, virtual case studies, the scenarios. Normally, experiential learning, people say that one has to go to the field. We need not go to the real field. We can go to the simulation. So, e-learning, experiential e-learning. How come experiential e-learning possible? Through simulations, through scenario analysis. Okay, simulations, scenario analysis, and some kind of virtual projects. These are the sources where you can get hands-on experience even without exposure to the real-time field. Okay, so case study approach also will give you proper gyan. That's very, very important. Now, let us move on to the research design type. Here, I would like to ask you one question. What is a design? Okay.
It is a blueprint of our research.
Wonderful. It's a blueprint. Okay. What else? It's a blueprint, no doubt. Research design is a blueprint. What is that you are going to do at the end of the day? You need to show it before. If anybody wants to go for a trek, he should understand the geography of that particular hill or mountain. He should understand, right? And he should acclimatize. When
Like a map, sir. It's like a map.
Wow, amazing! It's like a map. Yeah, it's like a map. But the real-time map is more important. Okay, nowadays Google tells you where there is the straight way, and it does not tell you whether you need to go onto the flyover or under the flyover. Sometimes that is the danger. Okay, so we need to explore the real-time the scenarios. That's why.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. In the chat box, Jacinta Ashita ma'am has asked, could it be like a strategy, like a planning ahead?
Yeah, planning ahead, right? It is like a planning ahead of doing the work. Perfect. Yeah, it is true.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, it is true. And one more important aspect of research design is the choice of research design depends on factors. Like I told research questions, nature of the phenomenon under study, available resources. See, everybody wants to go on trekking, but after climbing for 2, 3, what is called levels, they give up because their energy level is over. They normally get a lot of tired, and that may not, be able to reach the top of the hill. They may have ambition, but the realization of that may not be possible. That is what it is also needed to understand the competencies. Clear? That's why researchers select the most appropriate design to ensure that their study effectively addresses its objectives and product. And also one more thing, you need not be very much ambitious also. You can say there is this, that's why we need to mention our limitations of the study. If the limitations are more than objectives, then nobody will appreciate. We need to tell the limitations and scope for further research, scope for future research. That's why the research design also, gives the overview of almost all the topics or contents in the research. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now,
Sir,
yes, yes.
sorry to interrupt again.
Yeah.
Adding to the Jacinta ma'am, Shruti ma'am has said it is like creating a plan so that
Okay.
a researcher does not feel overwhelmed. When they have a design, they know how to proceed further.
But yeah, that is to a certain extent, because that's why we need experts' opinion here. The experts, normally who are the experts? The teacher research supervisor. Okay, every teacher need not have the complete understanding of the research. See, every teacher cannot do research into every area, no. But teachers will have a lot of clarity about the approach, the methodology. That's why even they do a research in one area, they are available to guide and explore the other areas also, because the approach is the same, sometimes with little modifications, but that has to be approved, authenticated by the research guide. Then we say that is perfect. Okay. And the research design can be again classified into 5 categories: descriptive research, experimental research, correlational, longitudinal research, and cross-sectional. Do you know what is descriptive research? This type of research aims to describe the characteristics of phenomenon or population without manipulating variables. We don't change the variables. We don't influence the variables. We do not manipulate. Okay? That is about descriptive. Then experimental research involve manipulating one or more variables, because we control the variables. See, we keep some variables in control mode, some variables non-control mode. Because experiments possible under certain conditions, no? That conditions are being manipulated by the researcher. But we need to justify why we are conditioning, why we are doing this. We need to justify in the methodology itself. Okay? Then correlational research. Correlational studies investigate the relationship between 2 or more variables without manipulating them. Okay? 2 or more variables we take into consideration. They assess the degree of association between variables but do not imply any causation. No cause and relation, cause and effect type. And longitudinally is all about period. And cross-sectional studies collect the data from different individuals or groups at a single point in time. Because if you collect the data at one point of time and move to the another segment and collect the data between these 2 groups, 2 periods or 2 segments, the time elapses. So that may not be possible. That's why you need to collect data at a time, at multiple locations, multiple areas. That is called cross-sectional research design. Anyhow, let us discuss one by one. See, descriptive research design is employed to systematically describe the characteristics of population or phenomenon without manipulating. That is, see, we do not manipulate, we do not control, we do not put any kind of restrictions. And this approach is particularly useful when researchers seek to understand the prevalence, distribution, and patterns of certain behavior, attitude, traits within a specific group. That's why descriptive. See, examples, surveys, observational studies, and case studies are common methods used in descriptive approach. And surveys involve collecting the data through questionnaires, of course, sometimes interviews. Sometimes we gather information about participants' beliefs, opinions, behaviors, etc. And descriptive research design covers observational studies, and case studies focus in-depth examination. And descriptive research design lays foundation for further investigation and hypothesis development. Okay, that's why descriptive. You see, most of the PhD guides can normally they guide the scholars to mention it is both descriptive and experimental. If they do conduct any kind of experiments, they mention what kind of experiments they have done. If not, how descriptive it is, they will explain. Okay, so it all depends on the topic which we select. And coming to the experimental research, it's all about manipulating one or more variables to observe the effect on another variable. See, example, to test hypothesis and determine the impact of independent variables on dependent variables while controlling extraneous factors. See, experimental studies typically involve random assignment of participants to experimental and control groups to ensure that any observed effects are due to the manipulation of variables rather than other factors. See, experiments know, like simulation, we do. Suppose uh, we are planning for 100 members for a particular visit. Suddenly, the number increases from 100 to 120. Then the other things also should be adjusted accordingly. So we need to be prepared. That's what we do simulations and what we call scenario analysis. These are all possible only when we take up the experimental research design. And one important thing we need to understand here is the manipulating variables and controlling for conducting factors. It allows researchers to draw conclusions about the causal relationship between variables and providing variable insights into the underlying mechanism of behavior, organization, or phenomena. This is very, very important because the experimental research we need to justify, and that is very important. See, many people say they are good at blockchain technology. See, blockchain technology is all about using the AI, ML, and mostly security systems. And how we can do unless we have some basic knowledge in that. See, first we should be master in that area, then take up that research. That's why they ask for what is the theoretical foundation a student has while doing a particular research. That's why they ask for the qualifications. They ask for pre-PhD subjects. What is that they have done? Sometimes they give basic knowledge to get some awareness about this particular thing. These are all the things we need to justify when we claim that mine is an experimental research. What is the basis? What is the ground for doing that research? We need to justify. Unless we justify, we cannot proceed further. Okay? So it is good taking up experimental research, but we need to justify why we have taken. Justification of that is very, very important. Now come to correlational research. Correlational research design involves examining relationship between two or more variables without manipulating them. We do not, disturb the variables here. And this approach aims to assess the degree and direction of association between variables, and researchers identify the patterns and make predictions about the behavior or outcomes of the interest. Okay, this is our correlational research. And positive correlations indicate that variables increase or decrease together, while negative correlations suggest an inverse relationship. Of course, this is what we come out with the findings once we analyze with the research tools and techniques. Okay, but only thing is we should be cautious when interpreting correlational findings and additional research using experimental or longitudinal research. Designs may be needed to establish causation. Yeah, longitudinal, this is very, very important. See, longitudinal research is all about collecting the data from same object or participants over an extended period at different intervals, at different periods, at different time zones, different trends, different changing times over a period of time. Because there are certain things which are very, very uncertain. To establish a pattern, because research is all about impacting, no? So we need to establish proper pattern over a period of time. That kind of scenarios, we use the longitudinal research design. And these longitudinal research studies are useful for investigating developmental trajectories, understanding aging process, assessing the long-term impact of interventions or treatments, etc. And of course, the longitudinal studies require careful planning. This is very important as they can be resource intensive and subject to participant attrition or other methodological challenges. Okay. And this is also very, very important, cross-sectional research. The students who are doing research, normally the external educators ask for the methodology. This is very, very important. The cross-sectional design, because the data may be collected from one particular, segment, one particular geographical area. They ask immediate question, can you generalize this research into all parts of the country, all types of geographies, all types of locations? That is, they ask. That's why to justify, we can say, how we have done our research. See, we need not do the entire thing. There is nothing like that. But whatever we do, we must be in a position to justify. Okay. So cross-sectional research will help you that the prevalence conditions or behaviors comparing groups, a hypothesis for further investigation. Sometimes they do not provide information about changes over time, establish causality between variables. That's why caution must be exercised when interpreting cross-sectional findings, as associations observed may be influenced by other factors or confounding variables. This is why it should be very important. That's the reason, despite these limitations, cross-sectional research design offers valuable insights into characteristics and dynamics of population at specific point in time. That's why they try to include the cross-sectional, data. That's very, very important. Yeah, whatever possible, we need to accommodate. Yes.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. May I ask you one doubt?
Yes, please.
Yeah, what is the demarcating line between descriptive research design and correlational research design?
See, descriptive or correlational. Correlational is all about the cause and effect. Okay. And descriptive also the same thing. But sometimes,
yes,
sometimes we need to justify why we are using descriptive as well as the correlational. Most of the are you able to understand, hear?
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. most of the researchers include both of them. They use it as complementary to each other.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Because these two are very closely related also.
Yes, sir.
See, actually it helps us to give broader perspective of the research work, and we can justify our research work very comfortably.
Yes.
And the educators also will be happy that if you are able to convince them with the examples and the variables you measure there in the data research
Yes, sir.
questionnaire. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Now let us move on to the sampling strategy. This is ultimate because many people say, data, shall we take the entire population for taking the data? It's not possible. We cannot take the entire entire population into study, no? Is it possible for everyone to take the entire population into consideration?
No, sir. No,
Not
sir.
at all, not at all possible. Okay. So sampling, it actually refers to the method used to select the participants, means respondents, okay, or data points from a larger point or population. See, suppose somebody takes up the topic, say for example, behavioral, or investors behavior or behavioral factors influencing the investment patterns. See, what is that behavioral patterns influencing investment? Is it behavior of the peers? Is it behavior of the employee segment? Is it behavior of a particular community? We need to, take up, suppose one activity, one topic. Can we generalize? And for generalization, can we say all the employees community behave in this perfect way, in this way? We cannot. That's why we take, sample. That sampling can be done both the ways, like probability sampling, non-probability. The probability sampling is based on the principle of random selection. Sometimes convenience sampling, that is the random selection, giving each member of the population an equal chance of being included in the sample. And this approach allows for generalization of results to the longer population or larger population. The non-probability sampling do not rely on random selection, meaning not all members of the population have a chance of being included. These methods are often used for exploratory research when probability sampling is impractical. Okay, suppose probability sampling is not possible, then go for non-probability. Then you may ask how we differentiate between probability and non-probability. This is the answer for that. The probability sampling techniques: simple random, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling. Normally, most of the researchers use the cluster sampling, systematic sampling, simple random sampling. Sometimes stratified sampling also they use. Multi-stage, very rare. Suppose non-probability, convenience sampling. Most of the researchers are going with convenience sampling because it's very difficult to travel, meet, collect, include. Not that easy. Sometimes judgmental or purposive. We control the variables. That is purposive sampling. Sometimes quota sampling. We take little bit of everything. Sometimes snowball sampling. Actually, this is all about qualitative research, snowball. Suppose ethnographic studies you are doing, and you don't know where your, respondents. You don't know who are the participants. What you will do, you will meet one. Suppose you are doing research on entrepreneurial orientation among the business families. How do you know Who will give you time? Who will help you? Okay, is there anybody readily available to give you data? No. So what will use? You will use snowball. You will meet first person, develop a rapport with that person, collect the data, and establish a very good relationship. Like you are a researcher, you are trying to help them, you are trying to provide some inputs, and you will share your research outcome also with him. Like that, you will establish relationship with the respondent. Over a period of time, maybe after speaking to you half an hour or 1 hour or 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, if he is convinced, he will suggest another person, another respondent. Like that, you need to keep meeting people, respondents, at various points, at various locations, at various, areas. That is what called snowball. You don't know who are all, but you will come to know while doing with one respondent, you know, after some time you will come to know somebody else. That is what snowball sampling and self-selection sampling also will do. But whatever is the sampling technique we choose, it is there based on our research goals, our resources and time, and the accessibility of the respondents, and the design of the study. These are the base protocol points that help you to decide a particular technique of sampling. Okay. Now, I combine both the probabilic and the non-probabilic, sampling, like simple random, stratified, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and they may ask you how did you arrive at that size of the sampling. That you use that mathematical formula and say this is my sample size. So random sampling. Random sampling, every member gets equal opportunity for being selected. Okay, it aims to minimize the bias because you should be away from any kind of biases. That is the ultimate objective. And random sampling involves selecting individuals from the population at random without any specific criteria or any stratification. It involves dividing the population into subgroups like age, gender, location, and randomly select the samples. And sometimes random sampling includes cluster sampling also, like dividing the population into clusters or geographies or groups, okay, to include in the sample. But random sampling is a fundamental principle in research methodology, ensuring that sample data accurately represent the population and allowing researchers to draw valid conclusions from their findings. Mostly, these two techniques only they use, either random sampling or the second thing I told you, convenience sampling. And convenience sampling it's a non-probability where researchers select participants based on their easy accessibility and proximity. Most of the researchers say, sir, it is convenient sampling. And the educators also cannot say no. Okay, they also accept because it is not possible for everyone to cover entire data, no. So individuals who are readily available for are convenient to access are included in this sample. So there is nothing wrong if you say we followed convenient sampling. It's okay. And convenient sampling normally used in fields such as psychology, education, market research, where researchers may recruit participants from classes, community centers, or online platforms. They may take it. While convenient sampling offers practical advantages in terms of ease and efficiency, it may introduce bias. Because that's the problem, no? That's why the extended question is the reliability and validity of the data. Okay, here the question comes: reliability and validity of the sample data you collected, for which you need to prove that you are taking perfect data for doing your research. Okay, yeah. The snowball sampling, also known as chain referral sampling, is a non-probability sampling and used in qualitative research, especially when studying hard to reach or marginalized populations. The initial participants are called seeds. You meet one initial participant, and then after participating in the study, these individuals are asked to refer others from their social networks or communities who may also help meet the inclusion criteria. Okay, that is why it is called, because iteratively you are doing this. No, that's why it is called snowball. And snowball sampling is also an appropriate method of collecting the data. Then stratified sampling. The stratified sampling involves dividing the population into some groups based on the characteristics like age, gender, level of income, etc. And this ensures that each subgroup is represented in the sample proportionately to its presence. And stratified sampling is commonly used when population exhibits substantial variability in certain characteristics. The researchers want to ensure that each subgroup is adequately represented in the group, because you need to balance the data points. That's very, very important. And cluster sampling. We divide the population into clusters, like the schools, households, or geographical regions, and then select the data. So these are all about data collection, using sampling, sample selection in the data collection. Then systematic. See, systematic is all about the periodical intervals, like every nth individual, like discrete series. To implement systematic sampling, researchers first randomly select a starting point. Suppose you are selecting a seventh candidate in 100, population size. You need to give a for data points where every fifth candidate. See, after seventh, fifth candidate is 12th, then 17th, then 22nd. Like that, you collect the data. This is called systematic sampling. Okay, because it offers several advantages, including simplicity of implementation and efficiency in terms of time and resources. And it ensures that sample is representative of the population when population is randomly ordered or exhibits a regular pattern, because it is inclusive of the entire, size. So that is what systematic. Do you know what is purposive sampling? The purposive sampling, actually, it is also called biased, because the researcher will define who are my target, who are my, the respondents. But you need to justify why you have taken purposive sampling in the education process. Yeah, and examples include expert sampling, criterion sampling, snowball sampling. Because if the data is not so available and you don't know who are the respondents, you go with purposive sampling only. So researchers must carefully consider the trade-off and justify their sampling decisions transparently in the research methodology. That's why, how you are justifying your sampling is very, very important. But there is nothing wrong going for purposive sampling. Then quota sampling is another mode. You can understand it very well. And data collection methods, quantitative data and qualitative data. Before that, I would like to ask you some more questions on sampling. Okay? Can I ask you one question here?
Yes, sir. I can ask you. Sir, my doubt is this: is the reliability of the results of the research obtained by using non-probability are equally important if it would be used probability sampling?
Actually, the reliability and validity you need to justify. Okay, see, suppose
Yes.
0.05 is the answer. It could be. It is coming to 0.02. It is less than.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why reliability, validity is very important. You need to justify that size, sample size, and variables also.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very difficult to proceed further, and nobody will appreciate. They grill you in the viva.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now I'll ask you one question here. Which sampling method involves selecting a sample based on ease of access and availability? Which sampling method involves selecting a sample based on ease of access and availability? Option A,
Convenience.
sample random. B, cluster. C, convenience. D, systematic.
Convenience. Convenience.
Convenience.
Without somebody has mentioned without
Convenience.
providing the options itself, because the question itself is very clearly asked, saying no. Involves selecting sample based on ease of access. Ease of access means is convenience. Amazing. Okay. And another
Sir,
question I would, hello.
yes, sir.
Another
Sorry
question.
to interrupt.
Let
So
me
there are questions which I would like to acknowledge because
Yeah.
there are some interesting questions which have been asked by the participants.
Wow. Please read them.
Yeah. The question is from Miss Veena Singh. The question is, I have a doubt that how to use the UTIOT model work for my title, which is on marketing segmentation in tourism. So
Okay.
there is any model for market segmentation? Before moving ahead, I would request Veena ma'am to please unmute and keep the camera on. Veena ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are good to
yeah,
go.
Yeah, if she is finding any difficulty, in the meantime, let me ask one more question. Can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Which of the following sampling methods is best for ensuring that subgroups within a population are adequately represented? Which of the following sampling methods is best for ensuring that subgroups within a population are adequately represented? A, simple random. B, stratified sampling. C, cluster. D, convenience.
Cluster.
Actually, there is a little confusion. Normally, people get confused between cluster and stratified.
Yes.
See, cluster is subgroups. No, like suppose you are offering, you are a business school faculty and you have marketing specialization, HR specialization. Okay, you are taking all that specializations into consideration. That is cluster. But stratified is all about subgroups.
Okay, sir.
So the answer here is subgroups.
Stratified.
Stratified sampling. Okay. And another question. What is a systematic sampling? Options. What is a systematic sampling? Options. Dividing the population into subgroups and sampling from each subgroup. B. Selecting a random sample of clusters and then sampling all individuals within those clusters. C. Selecting every nth individual from the list. D. Using volunteers to participate in the study.
Using nth method.
Selecting
C.
every nth from the series.
Nth item.
Amazing, amazing. Selecting every n, that's what I gave you know. Suppose you are collecting data from 100 members. Instead of taking all 100 members, you can select, you know, seventh is the starting point, and every fifth member after seventh or after third, then every fifth member you are taking. Okay, that is called systematic sampling, right? Now, another question I would like to ask you. Which sampling method ensures that every possible sample of a given size has the same chance of being selected? Cluster, systematic, simple random, stratified.
Simple random.
Simple random.
Amazing. Simple random, because every participant should be given equal opportunity. Very good. Perfect. Then we'll wait for some time, because the time also is important. Okay. Anyhow, these questions will be shared. The presentation also will be shared. And the very important slide we have reached now, variables and measures.
Thank you, sir. Very incredible session, sir.
Wow,
Yes.
amazing. Because this is,
Yeah.
see, I am also a teacher, man. We need to give the best to the, you know, students and colleagues. And I have done 33 years. What is that I need? I know I'll take with me. Let me give the best and always give freedom to the participants and my students. I believe in that, because listening is important. No, that's why I'm trying to give as much as possible. Let us take it. And I shared some links, this presentation, and also some quiz questions. For more, you can work on your own, no worry. But anytime you can approach me, right? The important slide here is about variables and measures. Friends, these two are very, very important. You need to understand the difference between variables and measures also. Measures is normally quantifiable, sometimes non-quantifiable also possible. See, suppose you are taking the content analysis. For content analysis, you don't have data to measure, but there are some observations you can express as measures. That's why variables and measures are very, very important. I will, before going to give Gyan on measurables and variables, I would like to ask you one question. Which of the following best defines an independent variable? Okay, options. Question once again. Which of the following best defines an independent variable? Options. A variable that is measured for changes. Option B, a variable that is kept constant. C, a variable that is manipulated by the researcher. D, a variable depends on other variables.
A variable which is constant.
Which is
Constant.
A variable which is manipulated.
which is
Which is
manipulated.
manipulated. Variable which is
manipulated.
Is
A variable
manipulated.
which is manipulated. C. Can I ask once again the question? Which of the following best defines an independent variable? See, independent variable means it is under your control. You can do it whatever way you wish. Okay? So answer C is correct. A variable that is manipulated by the researcher. See, independent variables you can manipulate, you can change, but you cannot change the dependent variables. Say yes or no. Dependent variables are the reason because of the independent variables. You can manipulate independent variables, but you cannot manipulate the dependent variables. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then what is the dependent variable?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is a dependent variable? Option. A variable that is manipulated by the researcher, a variable that is kept constant, a variable that is measured for changes, a variable that changes that causes changes in the variables.
It is
Just a
measured for
minute.
changes.
Yeah, madam.
I would request all the participants to at least while, to make the session more interesting, please switch on the video whenever possible while asking or answering the question. It will be much more easy for us to click the screenshots and to get it more updated. Please.
Yeah. Okay. So these are all very important. Let me complete my presentation. So variables and measures, we should be very careful in defining and operationalizing our variables. And a very important thing is we need to also define and make it very clear that what are the independent variables and what are the dependent variables, sometimes control variables. Okay, it is a very big subject actually. We can spend a lot of time on understanding these variables and measures. Okay, and measures are specific ways in which variables are operationalized or quantified. See, measures, unless you measure the data, you cannot bring out the what I call conclusions or observations or suggestions. That's why measures are also important. But measures could be numeric, sometimes descriptive. That's what I'm saying. Suppose it's a qualitative data, descriptive is your, the measurement. You need to describe, you need to analyze, you need to give that case study analysis. That is also type of measurability. Need not be in numbers. Okay. Quantitative is all about counts, ratings, measurement scales, वगैरह. And qualitative involves capturing non-numeric data through descriptive or categorical means. Qualitative measures are often used to assess subjective experiences. Suppose some mystery happens, you need to understand the reasons and the scenario completely by doing in-depth analysis of that particular, mishap. Clear? So examples of qualitative measures include open-ended survey questions, interview transcripts, sometimes observational field notes, the content, वगैरह. Then another important thing is experimental procedures. And these procedures in research involve systematically manipulating variables. This is what I wanted to convey. These variables are controlled by the researchers because under certain assumptions, under certain conditions, under certain criteria, you are doing. That's what we need to define the variables in advance. That's what included in the research methodology part. It does not come under analysis part. It is coming under methodology part. We need to give more clarification on methodology. That's why a person who is good at methodology can play the research like anything. And that too, mind it, this is all academic part. The researcher doing great research actually is adding a lot of value in the academics. No doubt about it. But whether he is communicating it properly or not, that is all a different thing. Communication of our research is different from doing actual and scientific research. Okay, how we need to communicate also I am going to explain in further data analysis plan. There I will tell. Because this DAP is a structured roadmap for systematically analyzing the collected data in a research study. How we are analyzing and how we are interpreting and how we are, making our analysis very transparent, very rigor and consistency we are following in our approach. These are all very, very important. And components of data analysis, of course, introduction, we need to give the brief about our research study and summarize the data collection methods, वगैरह, and outline the overall approach and the data analysis and the rationale for selected techniques. This is what I'm saying. The methodology part is very, very crucial. And data cleaning and preparation. This is sometimes you need to clean the data. What is it is not erasing the data. It is actually modifying the data so that it can convey some meaningful observations, like coding, organizing the raw data, okay, identifying any missing data, outliers. As I told you, that Super 30, Anand Sharma. It is not that everybody from that particular location is super genius. There are super genius we need to identify. Like that, outliers also there. We need to identify those outliers and keep them away from the study, because anytime that is very, very important. Then components of data analysis plan, both descriptive, inferential. See, inferential is all about specifying the statistical techniques or tests that will be used to test hypothesis or assess relationship between the variables. More analysis I will give here. Inferential is all about parametric tests like t-test, ANOVA, regression, for normally distributed data. Non-parametric tests include Mann, Whitney, U-test, Kruskal-Wills test, वगैरह we use. And correlation analysis we use, multivariate analysis we use, all for just telling and conveying that we are using proper methods for interpreting and analyzing the data so that our research is very, very scientific. We need to justify how, much effort you are putting in to make the data clean and to make the research is very transparent and make research is 100% worth. And the plan also includes interpretation and reporting, and that's why I highlighted the validity and reliability of the data is important. Ethical considerations we need to follow. See, ethical considerations is all about mentioning or making it very transparent. I'll give you in another slide references and appendices also. See, timelines and resources are very important because we cannot make everything every time 100% perfect. We may be, because there is a saying, the quality is not the destination, it's a journey. The research quality also is not a destination, it's a journey. Actually, after completing our PhD, we learn more about research than while doing research. See, while doing research, we do not know where we are heading to. But after completing our research, we can guide better. In fact, while guiding the students, we learn more. This is what my experience I'm sharing. And the same with you. After some time, you only will endorse my statement here. And timelines are very important because you cannot keep on doing, collecting data and, never-ending story. We need to put full stop somewhere and complete the work and showcase, and then next step you can take, to further. That's why further scope of research. Okay, and sometimes if it is a funded research, we need to give budgets. We need to, recruit people. That is human resource, technical assistants or human resources. And sometimes we need to procure the equipment, and sometimes we may collaborate also and partnering with some research agencies and some other researchers across. Yeah, these are the ethical considerations. This is very, very important. See, nowadays, most of the people are talking about ethics and values. We should follow 100% the ethics and values. We have to inform, we have to take the consent of the participants. We have to tell them for what purpose we are collecting the data. We need to educate them. We can never misrepresent. We can never deceive the participants. And also, second point in that line is privacy and confidentiality. Sometimes we need not tell who participants are giving this kind of data for us. We should never, because confidentiality is very important. If you do not maintain confidentiality, nobody will trust us. If nobody trusts us, nobody gives the correct information. When they don't have correct information, the research findings will be false. And false data, you cannot claim that you have done something. The entire process will go futile. That's not advisable. So let us be transparent and let us maintain confidentiality, and we have to minimize the harm. Actually, this is for biological studies. People are very, very concerned about it. The environment and biological life sciences. This is very, very important, particularly when they use animals. No, there is a policy because when I worked in a university, we used to have the hospital and pharmacy department. They used to conduct a lot of research, and they have to give disclosure well in advance before taking up that research. Of course, integrity and honesty are very important, and we need to respect the participants. Whoever is agreed to give us the data, that does not mean they are our controlled things. We need to respect them, and compliance with regulations. Sometimes we need to give disclosures before starting the data, and sometimes we need. Not sometimes. Every time, whatever we do research, we should try to publish. The publication and dissemination is very, very important. That's what I'm telling you. The academic research is only possible through two sources, only two sources. One is textbooks, proper textbooks. The other is refereed journals. Refereed journals are also part of the academics. See, magazine is not an academic thing. The magazine, newspaper, flyers, the other content, the digital content, they are not at all, digital content means any social media content cannot be taken as academic because they do not come under the refereed journals. Suppose the refereed journals are making the data, the research papers accessible, then it is academic. Okay, but anything which is beyond these textbooks and research refereed journals, everything comes into non-academic. So non-academic, yes.
Sabir,
Sir, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
can you start the question answers?
Yeah, madam, just give me just 2 minutes, madam. I complete it and then you can take it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Yeah, only 2 slides. Pilot testing is important because of these important points. Refinement of procedures, because once the pilot testing is proved that your research is okay, we can proceed. That's why pilot testing is done in some researches. These are the steps used in pilot testing, like plan, prepare, select, conduct the pilot test, monitor, evaluate, and finally report the findings. That findings we share with our research supervisor and other people outside. That's why some universities share the synopsis well in advance before getting the acceptance to adjudicate the thesis. Of course, these are the data collection methods. Some other sessions I think will be covered. Yeah, measurements and instruments, questionnaires, scales, tests, वगैरह, and experimental tools, laboratory control systems, वगैरह. See, these are the data analysis techniques, ANOVA, time series, वगैरह. Anyhow, they share in the presentation shared. See, this is very important. Visualization presentation tools. That's why every management faculty and researcher should at least understand Tableau, R programming, Python, along with PowerPoint and Excel. Ethical considerations we discussed earlier, and documentation and reporting is very important. And most important slide is this one. And I'm done with my presentation. I'm open for any kind of questions, discussions, or anything else. Can I stop sharing now?
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
Okay, so we are about to begin the question answer round. Sir, request you to please enable your camera.
I will do. Sorry, madam, I took extra time. I'm sorry, participants. I have gone beyond because I could not control myself while giving because I've done a lot of efforts, man. I cannot hide these efforts. I wanted to share. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Now. Thank you, madam.
Yes. Sir, we are beginning with the question answer round. There is one question from Professor Veena Singh. I have a doubt that how the UTOT model work for my title, which is on market segmentation. I request Veena ma'am to please enable her camera.
Actually, madam, can you elaborate what is that you wanted? Because I'm not done in I'm not expert in marketing, but let me try. I'm not sure I can justify because I don't have any idea.
Uh, Veena ma'am, please enable your camera. Yes, Vidya ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah, madam, what's your question? Yeah. Yeah, I
Question
have a
is
doubt.
whether she can use the UTOUT model, isn't it? Can you repeat the question, Sabir?
The question is, I have a doubt that how the UTOT model work for her title on market segmentation in tourism.
Yeah, anyone knows can
Yeah,
answer
but then,
here.
why does she want to use the UTOUT model as in the title itself? She can
Guys.
use the UTOUT model for collecting data, for analyzing data, but in the title, why does she want? I want to know why does she want that in her title?
Actually, I wanted to tell you here, madam, is it a universal transformer architecture model? Actually, it is used for social networks, neural network architecture. That's why I'm trying to understand from the originator. Okay. Yeah, next question.
So
Okay,
we'll move
madam,
on
you
to
go
the
for
next
it.
question. The next question has been asked by Miss Shivani Mathur. How much digital content we can use in our research? Shivani
Yes.
ma'am, please enable your camera.
Yeah, madam, you cannot use 100% digital content for your research because that is not. I told you no. Academic is only the textbooks and referred journals. Digital content you cannot refer also. You cannot quote also. Suppose the digital content is supplied by the authenticated sources, then you can take the screenshot and share. There is nothing wrong. But
Okay, sir.
digital content from unauthorized or unauthenticated is not acceptable.
But from if government sites we can use government
Yeah,
sites. There is some
yeah,
government
government
sites
means
we can use
100%.
our data.
Shivani madam, government means 100% authenticated.
Yes,
Because, yeah, that you can use. That is
we can do.
authority, no? You can happily quote that.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next question, which is from Miss Chanpreet. Chanpreet ma'am, please ask your question.
Um, Hello, sir. Good afternoon. It was very informative session. So actually, I have two small doubts. So you said that you are going to. You said that when you do content analysis, like the interview part, I am
Yes.
planning to take some in focus, for in-depth interviews. So how would you analyze that then?
See, content analysis, when you analyze, you need to follow the basic procedure. Basic procedure you need to follow. Like, what is the source from where you are taking the content? Second one, what is the method you are following? Okay, like whether it is authenticated or unauthenticated, or relevant, irrelevant. What is your whether it is matching with the research objective?
So like if I'm taking in-depth interviews, how will I analyze the answers? Like just the recorded answers and I make some analysis of it?
The analysis all depends on the type of question you are questioning. Yeah.
Open-ended.
What? Yeah. See.
Open-ended.
See, when you wish to example, can you give me an example so that I can better help you?
Okay, so for example, so my topic is spiritual intelligence and organization excellence. So I plan to do purposive sampling, wherein I'm
Okay.
planning that I may get in touch with some leaders which I gauge are spiritually intelligent. So
Okay.
I will ask them in-depth interview that what they feel organization excellence is and how is their company or maybe educational institute moving
Madam,
towards organization excellence
no.
and take an answer.
The excellence is not an answer in a single word or single statement.
Exactly,
Okay.
sir.
Excellence is all about the journey.
Yes,
In
sir.
terms of the productivity, in terms of employee attrition, in terms of the market
True.
capitalization. There are so many dimensions, madam. It
True,
depends
sir.
on the inclusiveness of question. It
Hmm.
depends on what is that you intend to collect.
Hmm.
You need to match the the content with the questions you are asking. You need to look at the relevance of these questions. The expected answers are something different from actual answers.
Hmm.
Okay, you need to match the questions whether it is matching with my objective or not.
Hmm.
Yeah, your objective of doing the research is really fulfilled with the data or not, that you need to check. Since you are the researcher, you must be knowing whether it is relevant or irrelevant to you.
Hmm.
You need to
Okay.
use your judgment or wisdom. We cannot prescribe. There is no standard tool for any kind of thing. That's why you need to see, even your guide cannot justify your questions. You need to justify because you are framing the questions. Clear?
So,
Yeah.
so related to that only, I have my second question is like mine is a mixed research, right? So I am taking half part like x is equals to y. I am proving through quantitative. So I have my variables defined and everything that what statistical tool I'm going to prove. Okay?
Yeah.
So for
Yes.
that much it is sorted. Problem is y is equals to z. So basically, spiritual intelligence leads to triple bottom line. I'm proving through quantitative analysis.
Perfect. Yes.
And triple bottom line is equals to organization excellence. So, sir, there are models. So,
Correct.
triple bottom line has its own parameters, people, planet, profit, and organization excellence has 5 to 6 models.
Perfect.
So, y is equals to z. I want to prove it through the secondary review. Because as you perfectly said, it is very difficult to quantify organization excellence. There are parameters, accreditation parameters. So I want to prove y is equals to z through secondary data, secondary literature. So is that okay if I prove y is equals to z through that part?
Yes. If you are able to justify, it's 100% okay.
I am. So, sir, then therefore, if I prove x is equals to y is equals to z, so therefore, ultimately, I land up on spiritual intelligence leads to organization excellence. Is that fine, sir?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, that yeah, exactly I was trying to understand.
No. You need to, madam. At the end of the day, you are the owner, and you need to justify. Okay.
Yeah.
For that, you need to do so many trial and error things. Also, there is nothing wrong in experimenting. And check that authenticity, check the relevance of the answers you are framing for your own questions. That's
Yeah.
very
So
important.
yeah,
And nothing
so
wrong
exactly,
in.
sir. So sorry.
Yeah, you can proceed. No worry.
So that is exactly, sir. I said, so maybe for little bit pilot testing, I can, take few leaders, and based on those excellence parameters only, I'll ask some open-ended questions to them.
Yeah, madam. And one more reason. You know why the researchers, while doing research, are expected to publish? Publication is the only authentication. Means your work is accepted for publication, means your work qualifies.
Okay.
Qualifies to be, authenticated. Qualifies to be accepted. Qualifies to be very academic. That is the objective. It is not to cause inconvenience to researchers to publish, at least 2 papers. While don't blame the research supervisors also. Yeah, next
Got-
please.
Thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
done. Okay.
Sir, the last question for the day is:
Hmm.
Is there any need to apply any model or theory to analyze the research topic? This question is from Miss Gitanjali.
Yeah.
Ma'am, over to you.
Madam, yeah.
Yes,
Madam,
sir.
Gitanjali madam, don't take a particular model just for the sake of, claiming that I have done this model. There
Okay.
is no need. There is no need that you need to follow a particular model and say. You can
Okay.
actually devise your own way. If you take help of any particular existing model, you can prove that your research meets that model fit or not. Even if it is not,
Okay.
you can actually frame a different model and get a patent.
Okay. Sir, actually, my thesis topic is related with it is effectiveness, that is efficacy of government policies for the tribal development. So I have started my work, but I have not applied any model. So
No
that I
worries,
have
no.
asked this question.
No.
So it is
Yeah.
not mandatory, sir, to
Not
apply any
madam,
model
actually
given by any expert.
yeah, actually you can come out with a model. One of my research students has brought CRM model for real estate.
Okay.
Actually, any customer-based companies are using so many CRMs now. How unique you are proposing is very important. There you can claim that your differentiativeness, like product differentiation, your service differentiation is important.
Correct,
Your
sir.
research differentiation, yours is a unique model. You bring out. Nothing wrong, madam. You
Okay.
try.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good luck. All the best.
Okay, so we
Thank
are done for the day. And
Okay.
so we are getting a huge feedback in the chat box saying that it was a very interactive, informative session. So here we come to a ending part. So we are not we don't want to end the session, but as the time ups and
We have the departing is
so
very important.
so moving to a formal vote of thanks, I would like to thank you, sir, on behalf of MMGIMS family for conducting such a wonderful session and providing your valuable inputs. And I'm pretty sure that these valuable inputs will going to help us, including me, in our future endeavors. So I would like to thank you, sir, for making this session more interactive, and the audience for making it more interactive by replying, answering the questions in the chat box. You have actually made it more interactive. I think today's session was much more uh, valuable and more informative. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, madam, and all the participants. I'm grateful. Please share my presentation with everyone,
Yes, sir.
and all the resources, whatever I shared, you share it, so that let us challenge our own competencies every time.
Yes,
That's
sir.
great. Thank you so
Yes, sir.
much. Bye.
I would request Vidya ma'am, our beloved director, to say some few words.
Dr. Prasada Rao was, you had such a large information to share with the, participants. But then we have our time modules, and like every good thing comes to an end. So we finish it at dot 12:30. But Dr. Rao, you made you enlightened us today with such a vast information. And next time we'll have some more sessions with you online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So before moving ahead, I would request all the participants to please switch on the camera so that we can take a group selfie kind of thing. As we are sitting too far, but still we can, with the help of this technology, we can click a group view.
Then arrange a photocopy of that same with me. I'm very
Yes.
fond of sharing these memories.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Bapre, so many people are there. Wow.
Sir, we have almost 102 people who have attended the session today.
Wow, amazing. Then take a pic. There are 2-3 snapshots you can take and share it with me. Share it with
Yes, sir.
madam. That's enough. It will come to me.
Yes, sir. Sure, sure. Sir, I'm taking the snapshot.
Yeah.
Participants, please switch on the camera. Those who have not activated.
This is very important for everyone, both participants, organizers, and resource persons.
Yes, Sabir. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm taking photos because all participants have activated the photo. So we have almost 88 participants who have enabled the camera.
Wow, amazing. Very great.
It is rightly said that the participants are actually the main people who make the event successful. So, I'm very glad that to say that the participants are very much active and they keep on supporting us in organizing this event in a very efficient manner. Yes, sir, done.
Yeah, thank you so much, madam. Once again, yeah, thank you. Thank you all participants. Thank you so much, boss. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Can I leave now?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
Yes, sir. Before ending the session, I would request all the participants that by 1:30 you will be receiving the link to attend the MCQ test. Yesterday, few participants have not attended the test. Please note, attending test is compulsory and you will be given certificate based on the test marks you are scoring. Please make sure that you attend the test. Okay. So we'll end the session here. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being patient and supporting us in organizing this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ending the session here.